Hello everyone. Hi, how are you guys doing? Today we're gonna be talking about Angel. So what's up? Welcome to the ANGELCAST Season 1. And this is gonna be much shorter than whatever the fuck I did for Buffy Season 4. For Buffy Season 4, I did like an over 4 hours long video. After editing, it was actually closer to 6 hours when I recorded it the first time. I'm not gonna be doing that now. I'm not gonna be talking about each individual episode of Angel. I'm just gonna be talking about my general thoughts that I have gathered at the end of season 1 of Angel. And I do want to say I do feel kind of bad for Angel the show and the treatment it's getting on my channel, because I am not actually releasing videos for every episode that the YouTube public can see. The main reason for that is because, well, first of all, I don't have the means to edit those episodes of Angel without Buffy taking a severe impact as well. So like if you would like to get like an episode of Buffy and Angel once a month each, then sure. But I don't think that's what people want. And like that's something that I can tell is that there is an interest for Angel by some people. Like there are some people that are really hardcore about Angel, but I can also tell that the majority of the people really are mostly interested in Buffy. So that's what the channel is gonna get. I am, however, watching Angel on my own time. I've said this multiple times. I'm watching it, keeping at the pace that it should be relative to the Buffy episodes that I'm watching. So it's like 1, 1, 1, 1. So just alternating between them. And I am recording myself doing so, and I'm releasing that on Patreon unedited. So that is out there somewhere. But now I really did want to release a video where I would just talk about my thoughts on the season 1 of Angel, and just Angel the show as it is presented to me right now, for everyone to hear. So, okay, let's talk about Angel season 1. Angel is very interesting because it is a spin-off show of Buffy, and I actually don't know how common, or if it was even a thing at all, to have spin-off shows of a different show back in the day. I'm pretty sure that there were. In fact, I'm thinking about it now, and I think that there were like sitcoms that had spin-offs of like a popular character people like. I think that was the thing in like American shows. So I'm sure that Angel is not the first spin-off, but it is a very interesting spin-off because we're taking a character from Buffy that I don't know how people feel about Angel, but I do like him. I do like Angel as a character because I really like what he's about, and we're going to be talking a lot about that today. But I really like them as a character, so when people told me he has a spin-off, you should check it out, I was like, yeah, I would like to check that out for a couple of reasons. I do like Angel, but also mostly because I am one of those people that I really, really want to know, but I also really, really care about my experience with things. So if I really wanted to know, I could just go on Wikipedia or whatever, or the Buffy wiki, and just spoil myself on Angel. But I actually did want to experience Angel. And because I'm a curious person, I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. The question was whether I was going to do it on camera or not. Decided to kind of do half and half. But ultimately, I had a good experience getting into season 1 of Angel. Now, Angel season 1 does have some moments where it really does feel like the show is trying to use your investment into Buffy as a way to tell you stories that you should care about. We've had a number of crossover episodes from shit that comes from Buffy, and some of those episodes are probably the best ones in Angel season 1. We had an episode where the entire storyline is this ring that Buffy got in Buffy, and we have Oz in there. There's another episode where Buffy comes into Angel the show, and we leave like an alternate timeline that didn't happen, where Angel gets to actually be happy and be with Buffy. We have the Faith episodes, which are kind of the best episodes that we've had, and Buffy even shows up for the second one. And right at the very end of Angel, we get to see Darla is back or whatever. It's like, okay, we have all these things that are connections to Buffy, and if you had been following Buffy, which honestly you kind of should have, you would be invested in Angel and in those specific episodes, which are kind of the best episodes of the season. So something that I wanted to point out is how much does Angel as a show stand on its own compared to as a Buffy spinoff? I personally would like to see Angel stand on its own without even being compared to Buffy. I would like to see that. It is its own show. it does happen in the same universe, but like whatever, man. Like we can do whatever we want. We don't have to care about whatever that like dumb teenage bullshit is happening on the other side of the fucking city. It's not even the same city, is it? Is LA in California? I guess it is. Sorry, I'm not American. This is the same state. Like, who gives a shit about that college bullshit? It's like, no, we're out here to save people. And that's what Angel season one is, and I'm gonna guess that that's what Angel as a show maybe is gonna be, even in the later seasons. I thought that could change, but that is something that I didn't immediately pick up on, and then people pointed that out to me, especially during the Faith episodes. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. That's what the show is about, and that's why I kind of like it. Now, what I mean when I say that, what I mean when I say saving people, is because the entire premise of Angel is kind of like Angel PI, you know? Like, people come and hire him, and they go like, I have a problem, I need someone to fix it, and then Angel comes in and beats the shit of whatever demon is causing trouble for the person in question. And there's nuance. Sometimes something completely wild happens. It's not just that clear cut all the time. But generally what the show is there are people in need of help and we help them. And that also applies whenever there's people in need of help from themselves, which is what Faith was. And that's when it becomes really apparent what the show kind of is. Unless this wasn't intentional, and if that's the case, then, well, fuck me. But this is something I observe, and I'm like, I want the show to be that. And so far it is, and it's saving people, just helping people, just lending a hand. And that's not something that Buffy necessarily does. Buffy is more concerned with coming of age. Buffy is more concerned when telling you all these like personal struggles that Buffy might have, or the other characters in the main cast might have. And there are often issues related to like real life issues that more often than not are connected to like the experience of being a teenager, and in the case of season 4, stopping being a teenager and kind of transitioning into that weird like adult life, but not really quite adult life yet. Angel is not really interested in exploring like the full depths of like the internal struggle that Angel or Cordelia or Wesley, and I guess we're gonna have to talk about Doyle, but at this point it's been mostly Wesley just by sheer episode number. But like, yeah, like it is not concerned in exploring the journey that these characters take. That's not to say that there's nothing to them, because there is, but that is something that is more Buffy. But for Angel instead, it is more about like, we know what Angel is about, and this is an execution of that idea. Angel, and the reason why I like his character is because he is someone who, I mean, his story is that he had a demon shot into his body when he turned into a vampire. He went out and just fucking killed a bunch of people and did a lot of fucked up shit. He was one of the most vicious vampires around. And then he got cursed to have his soul back, but his soul still like feels all of the shit that the body did. Even though there is an argument to be had about it not being the same person, it is still something that he feels like he personally did. So like that fucking sucks. And then we get to see there was a small thing at the end of season 2, I think, where we get to see how Angel was incredibly depressed and he kind of just let himself to just rot and waste away. He was just like a homeless dude living in an alleyway, like leeching off rats and shit. Like that's how he survived for I don't know how many years, but I don't know, like 1,000. What am I saying? Like 100 years, something like that. Like a long time. And it is not until a mysterious man shows up and tells them, hey, you should go help out this Slayer girl because a lot of shit is about to go her way and she's just a teenager, so maybe you can help her out. And then he found some purpose in that. Angel is someone who has that experience of being a bad person, even if whatever it wasn't his choice, but it is something that like he feels like he personally has to make amends for. So he really focuses on wanting to be good, wanting to be useful, wanting to help and work towards a greater good, just to make amends for that. And just as a personal note, that is the type of character that I love. That's also why I really love Giles whenever we explore the reason why he is the way that he is. He was kind of a rebel. He was kind of just fucking around when he was younger. And then eventually something really bad happened. One of his friends died. And then he really, really committed to being like a rules guy. We're going to make sure that we execute everything perfectly. We got to make sure that we always do the good thing. And it's because he's trying to make himself feel better after what happened. He's like, to I want to kind of like even out the scales a little bit, because I see myself as someone really bad who did bad things, and now I'm trying to like work to like change that a little bit. Is this penance, you know? That's something that I always like in characters, because like I feel like internally when I see a character who's doing anything, I'm thinking to myself like, what is the reason? Like, what is the motivation? What is driving you? And what is the goal, right? But whenever I see a character like Giles or Angel, I see it and I'm like, that makes just full sense. Now that I know that the reason why you're doing this is it is not selfless because you are trying to make yourself feel better, but that is like such a like there is no like evil intent in any of that. It really is just coming from a place of like guilt and shame and trying to just make things a little better after that. And that is something that I can fully get behind. I understand that, and it actually makes me feel a little bit bad, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. I follow you. So that is the core of what Angel is as a character to me. So now when we make a show where Angel is the main character, that is what the show does. And that is something that I didn't think about. Like, I had a question on my Patreon. Somebody asked me that it is included in the Buffy season 4, which was like, what were you expecting from Angel? Like, did you get what you were thinking about? And I was like, I wasn't expecting anything. Like, I didn't come into this show with any expectations as to what it could be. But I think it makes a lot of sense for the show to be this. To be a show about, like, people in need of saving show up, and we save them. We help them out. Because that's all Angel wants to do. I feel like if it was a show where it's like we're going on adventures or whatever, like, I don't think that would make much sense. I don't think that would, like, necessarily really work with the characters that we have here with Angel. I think the show really needs to be about Angel going out of his way to like extend the hand and help people who need it. I think that makes the most amount of sense, and that is something that I love about the show, because it is an execution on this like idea that Angel has as his like worldview, right? Like, this is what his character is about, and this is what the show is going to be. And when I started watching Angel, I remember, well, even before I started, people told me like, I really want you to watch Angel because it sounds like the kind of show that you would really like. Like, you personally, you specifically, I think that you would really love Angel. That's something that I remember people told me. And I was like, I don't know what they mean by that. And when I watched like episode 1 of Angel, I got the feeling that what they meant by that was, oh, this is gonna be like a dumb action show. And people were like, oh, you're gonna love all of the like, dumb action shit. Which, like, is not wrong. I am actually something that, I am someone that like, I do like to see some of the, like, you know, like kicking a dude off a building is like that kind of shit is just very over the top and really fun for me. So I'm down for that. But when I started thinking about like, I started to realize that the premise of the show, it is about like looking past the issues that might plague someone's mind and still going out of our way to save them. When that became apparent to me, that's when I was like, oh, I think this is what they meant. I think this is what people meant when they told me I would like this, because this is something that I'm pretty sure I've stated before, like, especially with the character like Giles. That is something that I love to see in characters, and the fact that Angel the show is just that, I'm like, perfect. This is great. I'm really loving what Angel is doing. So that is kind of what Angel the show is, and I really like it. Something that I do wonder is whether or not that was a deliberate choice that they did. And which one came first? Did they have the idea of like, oh, this is what the show is going to be? Or did they think about, this is what Angel is, so this is what the show has to be, you know? Like, that's something I wonder, because like that is just a perfect, that is just fits perfectly with the character. And I'm wondering whether or not that is something that they realized or just happened naturally. And if they did realize it, which one came first? Like, did they realize that is something they needed to do? Or was it something where they identified that that's something that that needed to happen, and they were like, okay, we're gonna do it, or it just happened because of Angel. Enough talking about like the broader strokes of the show. I really like the main theme of the show. I actually do like the main music theme as well, the title sequence. I like the music a lot. I like it more than Buffy's. But okay, now let's getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty of it. I'm not gonna talk about each episode individually of Angel, but I will say that Angel does kind of have that like weird Buffy season 1, Buffy season 2 feeling to it, in the sense that I feel like I'm watching a show that's still kind of weirdly trying to find its footing a little bit. And that's not every episode, but like there are a number of episodes of Angel where I'm watching them and I'm like, okay. Like there's just some weird shit happening. It's just like a monster of the week, villain of the week episodic. And then we solve it and then we just kind of move on with our lives. And it's like, okay, cool. It is nice seeing like helping people and solving problems for them. But at a certain point it's like, yeah, this is just an episodic whatever episode. Like nobody really is going to care about this one. Does that make them bad? No. But it is kind of like Angel does have that feeling of like, okay, people can give season 4 a lot of shit. Like at this point, that's something I learned, is that season 4 is not one that is necessarily beloved by the Buffy community. But season 4 did have this thing where like half of season 4 felt like it was on tracks, right? It felt like half of season 4 actually was connected to itself, and they were all progressing this like overarching storyline. Not that that's something that's super weird for Buffy, but it is something where it felt like the amount of like random episodes was diminished and the amount of plot episodes was increased. Whether or not the plot was good or not, that's a different issue. But I think that season 4 did feel like a little bit more consistent in that regard. Like once we found out about the initiative, what it was, and that Riley was connected to it, then suddenly it felt like every episode was just like connected. It was always like a level of progression, either on the storyline about the initiative or Adam, or just Buffy and Riley's relationship. Like it was all connected to one another, and it felt like there was a line that we were following. And if at any point the line kind of stopped a little bit, we followed the second line that was already present anyway. Where I'd feel like previous seasons of Buffy, because kind of weirdly because of his high school setting, did kind of feel like repetition. And I don't mean repetition in the sense of same thing, but repetition in the sense of like same structure. New weird shit happens, we gotta fight someone for it, and then it's resolved, and we learn some kind of life lesson, and then we just do that shit again next week, and it's just a different guy. There is not necessarily a line that you're following as much as it is just like a circle that keeps repeating, and sometimes the circle goes a little bit wild, and then you follow a different circle that is kind of weirdly connected to the first one, but it's still a circle, it's still just spinning. That's kind of what it felt like before. Season 4 did feel like lines. It felt like, okay, we're following something that we can connect through all of these episodes. It's not just episodic, we fight someone and then we just move on. It is something where it feels like there's progression. Angel feels more like the circle. Angel feels more like every episode is just like something different. It's not necessarily bad. Yeah, in fact, I would take probably Angel season 1 over Buffy seasons 1 and 2. If I'm gonna be honest with you. I just like I think the quality of each individual storyline of Angel more. And Angel, I have to say, Angel season 1 has had some bangers, honestly. Like straight up. Like that episode with Buffy, where Buffy comes in and we live a life where we're both happy and Angel is human. That is a very good episode. It is a very drama episode, which kind of is not necessarily what the show is about so far, but it is a really good episode. And then we get the Doyle episode, Hero. I think that's what it was called. Banger episode. We got the Faith episodes, incredible episodes. Like all of these episodes are fucking bangers, back to back, and it's like it's all locked away in like the spin-off show that most people are not gonna see. And I'm sitting here like, holy shit. I'm like, okay, the fact that the resolution to Fate storyline that started in Buffy and then goes into Angel and is resolved in Angel, it is a choice. But like a comment of mine said on YouTube, it was a choice that made sense, because that is what Angel is about. So resolving a character like Faith in a show like Buffy makes less sense than resolving her in Angel. And that's true. and I've spoken about this already on the Buffy cast. There is a full section where I just talk about Faith, because we have to talk about Faith every Buffy cast. But Faith is an incredible fucking character, and the only person that could save her would be Angel. That's the only person that could do it, because that's the only person that would be willing to look past and just pierce past that wall that she's putting up front. Just like that wall of violence, that wall of rejection, that wall of like, leave me alone, don't touch me. Angel is completely able to just look past it, even if she like punches him and everything. Angel is like, it's fine, like, I don't care. So once that wall of violence is passed, now Faith is left vulnerable, and she's like, okay, I have to like let myself open to you, and that's the only way to do it. No one else would have done that except for Angel, because Angel is the person that he is, and Angel the show is the show that it is because of Angel the person, and that's the only way that you could solve it. But anyway, beyond these like a specific like really banger episode points, we had other episodes that I actually did kind of like of Angel, that they were just fun, honestly, because like, okay, I think that the high school setting of Buffy, it is a setting that I don't particularly like very much. And I mean that about Buffy seasons 1, 2, and 3. Because like if I'm comparing Angel season 1 to those earlier seasons of Buffy in the using the circle analogy that I was saying earlier about like the way the storylines kind of go, I like Angel season 1 more, probably because of the background, really. Because Buffy season 1, 2, and 3, it was like a lot of high school, because like it makes sense. It is kind of a coming of age show, and we're high schoolers, and high school is most of your life when you're that age. It kind of is. You're kind of just, all right, I gotta go to bed and wake up early so I can go to high school, and then I stay there all day until I'm fucking tired and go back home, and then I'm miserable, or I get to do something for an amount of hours before I just pass out and repeat the exact same thing again. So it's like, okay, high school, big part. Of course, we're going to see a lot of it. But something I really like about Angel is kind of like the sense of like freedom and exploration that it has off the city of LA. Angel is confined to LA, but it really feels nice to me to just like walk around the city, go to the police precinct, talk to this like cop lady that we have, Kate, I think that's her name. Like going to these like abandoned buildings and shit and like fight random people in there. Like that's something I do like about Angel the show, is that it doesn't feel like we are limited to a bunch of high schoolers going to school, and then some weird shit happens at school and people just die every episode into school, and somehow the school is still kicking. Then at like nighttime, maybe Buffy goes on patrol, and then we kick a bunch of dudes in like a graveyard, you know, like we have a limited amount of sets in Buffy, or especially Buffy. But with Angel, it does feel like, okay, there's a city here, and I do like that. I do like feeling like there is a city, and so like I think that is an edge that it has over early Buffy. But okay, now, there's a couple of characters of Angel. Okay, so the main cast is Angel, duh. Cordelia, which is an interesting fucking choice, by the way. I wonder how that went, because I think somebody told me that, Charisma Carpenter, that's the actress name. I think somebody told me that she actively just wanted to be an Angel. So if that's the case, then fucking perfect, like, sure. But like when I saw it the first time, I was like, was she like demoted to go work on the spin-off coal mines? You know, just like, be gone with you. we don't need you anymore. You're gonna go into the spin-off show. But if that was her active decision and that's something that she really wanted, then sure, that's cool. And I actually do like that, because I do like even from like season 1, I did like Cordelia, because Cordelia felt like a kind of weird twist on a character that it would have been very easy to just dismiss her as just like the stereotypical school bully. But then she just kept saying weird shit that was like too self-aware to just be the stereotypical school bully. And that's something I really liked. Now I feel like I like that less, because now the show has become a little bit too self-aware. But it's still a fun bit, you know? Like, I still feel like it's kind of fun to have Cordelia around, so I kind of like her. She has, like, no self-awareness sometimes. She has, like, a huge amount of, like, meta-awareness of herself, and then simultaneously zero self-awareness about social situations. It's fucking crazy. That's kind of a fun character, honestly. Then we have Doyle, who's a very interesting character, because Doyle shows up, and I wasn't fully on board with Doyle at first, and then Doyle kind of sped around through his entire character arc, and the reason why he sped around through his entire character arc so quickly was because he died before episode 10. He died on episode 9, I believe. And it's like, it's fucking crazy. Like, he shows up and I wasn't super cool with him. I was like, well, he's kind of weird and creepy. He was like a simp. He was like, oh man, I want Cordelia to like me or whatever, which is typically not the character archetype that I like the most. One of my least liked ones, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So he didn't care much for Doyle, and then the show was like hit after hit. They were like, all right, here's Doyle backstory. Here's how he found out that he was a demon. Here's he was married, and then he hated himself so much that he fucking disappeared. He had a divorce, and like the wife still actually loved him, but he just couldn't love himself. So that's the reason why he just ran away, and that's also kind of the reason why he hides the truth that he's half demon and he can transform and shit to Cordelia or whatever. It's like, okay, he just really hates his like demon part. He has like a lot of like self-loathing, and that's the reason why he comes across as the person that he comes across. He's very needy, but at the same time he keeps his distance. It's like, okay, it all makes sense to me now. And like I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I do like that we're doing this for Doyle. It actually is making a character that I really like. And then he like dies next episode. It's so quickly. Actually, I'm pretty sure people told me this. I think I looked it up too. I think the reason why Doyle left is because the actor who played Doyle, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name because honestly he was a long time ago and he was stuck around for only a little bit. Apparently the actor that played Doyle, he had some issues regarding like drug use or something, and it was becoming an issue on the set, and they were like, I'm sorry, like you gotta go. So then they just killed him off. Like, it's so interesting that was something that like they had to like weirdly force, because like that means that while filming they had to come up with a way to just write him off the show and film that, which I don't know how shows are ran, but I'm pretty sure that usually you want to like figure out what you want to do with your episodes, like write them and the direction before you actually go into filming. Like filming feels like stage 2. But I don't know the way that this episode was produced. But that means that they had to just find a way to just dispose of him in a way that makes it like better, in a way that like makes sense while filming. Which is very interesting to me because the episode where he goes, Hero, is really fucking good. That episode is one of the best ones. And like arguably maybe the reason why it's so good is because Doyle dies, because like you're not used to main characters dying. Because I don't think that's ever happened in Buffy, has it? Or in this case, Angel. And I don't think people have died in Buffy yet. The only time that somebody like died that was important, like who gives a shit about like Buffy's old friend from like her old high school that showed up for one episode and he got into like a vampire cult or whatever and like he died. It's like, who gives a fuck about that guy? That the guy doesn't matter. But like an actual main character, that hasn't happened. The only time it happened is when Angel died at the end of season 2, and then he came back like 5 episodes later. It's like, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, so I guess people just don't die in the shows. And then Doyle just dies. He just fully dies, and it's fucked up, and it looks like shit. Like, he gets like melted and turned into like a skeleton before he like disintegrates and dies. And it's like, okay, that's fucked up. It looks so fucked up. But that episode is actually really cool because we have like a bunch of like weird monster Nazis, which is interesting because this is actually something I wanted to talk about. But I'll get back to it in a second. But while Doyle's entire struggle is a struggle of self-acceptance, it's a struggle of feeling like he can accept himself being a half demon, something he didn't know about, and then he had issues that like ruined his entire like mindset and his life, and then he's like, I hate that part of me, I don't want anyone to see it. But like his wife was actually cool with it eventually, and then he was like, no, I still hate myself. Like, it is an issue of him accepting himself. It is an issue of him accepting his own demon half. And then we have a storyline where you have a bunch of like weird demon Nazis, and let me be clear, they were not demon Nazis, they were Nazis that hated demons. Because something that Angel is doing is that not all demons are necessarily bad. Something I really like. We'll get back to it in a second. But that storyline actually does feel really well with like Doyle and his issues with his own like feeling accepted by himself. Because he dies saving a bunch of like monsters that are just a bunch of refugees that are trying to not get killed. And he does it by using his own like demon like resiliency in order to survive doing like whatever he was doing with the, I don't know what it was. He was like plugging something or something, like some Doc Brown shit. But like the only reason why he was able to do that was because He had the resiliency. He activated his demon form, and that was the only way he could do it. And it's like he's using his demon part. He actually told Cordelia about his demon part. He told her everything. There was a full confession, waving death flags. But like it's really good because he's actually accepting himself. He's actually using like the things that he saw as a negative in himself for so long, and now the woman that he loves accepts it. Everyone accepts it, and he's doing so. He's using it in order to save a bunch of people that are innocent that he are also a bunch of demons. Because like in that instance, like it becomes very clear what evil is and what isn't. And Doyle has a moment of like, I'm gonna accept myself and I'm gonna use it in order to like actually help all these people and save them. I love that. I think that is an amazing episode. I fucking love that episode of Angel. It's one of the best episodes we've had, and it's like it fits so well with Doyle's character. All this development actually led it into something beautiful, and I'm sitting here like, how did they do that with like being rushed like that? Someone clear this up for me. Like somebody actually explain to me how the production for this season was, because if Doyle showed up, the actor showed up, and he was filming, and like 5 episodes in, they're like, this guy's an issue, we gotta get rid of him. And then they write that storyline, it works out really well, and somehow they also write in all of these things for the previous episodes in order to set it up and how he feels about himself, like how he can change and what would his character arc be, and then fucking be able to execute it perfectly. I'm like, how do you do that? You had no time to come up with that. How the fuck did that happen? So anyway, that's something I'm just curious about. I would like to hear about that. But I fucking love Doyle as a character because of that. And it's wild because I saw Doyle in episode 1 and I was like, I don't like this dude. And then as the episodes went on, it was like, oh shit. And then he dies. He just goes out in a blaze of glory. And also he has maybe one of, if not the best, like, directorial choice scene in all of Buffy, which is when at the end of the episode they're watching the videotape that they filmed at the beginning of the episode, where he was like talking about heroes, like if you need someone, like we'll come right there to help you out. And then he has a moment where he was like, that's it, I'm done. And then it just turns off, and that's the end of the episode. Just perfect. And you get to see in his face like his awkwardness and like all of it is, you get to see like the memory of what he was, and like the lines just hit so perfectly, and then the way that it's just the recording and then it just turns off and goes to black. Perfect. Peak. Incredible. How is that episode so good? So like Doyle is a very interesting character to talk about. It's crazy. And then he gets replaced with Wesley, which is interesting, but I guess kind of makes sense. If you needed a replacement for your third guy, you couldn't do 2 guys. You need to have a third one because maybe you're too used to writing Buffy and you need a third guy to bounce off. Because like if it was just Angel, he's interesting as a character, but he's not very fun dialogue wise. And only you have Cordelia to carry you on that. It's like, okay, no, we need someone else. So they needed to bring someone in, and they were like, how can we make this like mid-season transition kind of work? And the thought is, well, we could bring someone that was already established from Buffy. And the choice was, let's bring Wesley in, like that can work. And they gave Wesley like a fun thing where he was kicked out of the Watchers, and he kind of rejects them at this point anyway. And he kind of became the Terminator. For some reason, and then but he's still like a nerdy guy, and he's so awkward, so it's like, okay, he's the same old Wesley, but a little bit changed, a little bit better. And it's like, sure, this can work. This is a weird group of characters that I wouldn't have expected when I was watching Buffy. It's like, oh yeah, Angel and Cordelia and Wesley, and it's like, okay, that's weird, but sure. So Wesley shows up, and it's like, okay, he can kind of feel in the shoes of Doyle, but the way Doyle went out, it's like, that was so peak, man. Like, I don't know if Wesley can ever compared to that. I don't know if he can ever just get to that level. Maybe he will. I don't know. He'll maybe die heroically as well after having like an amazing character arc. But at this point, Wesley feels, I'm gonna say Wesley doesn't feel particularly great in Angel yet, because I feel like he hasn't really done much. Best thing that Wesley has done so far is be there for whenever Faith showed up again. They bring up the fact that Wesley interrupted that one time with Angel, and that was kind of what set Faith off. He like tried to take her away. He tried to imprison her, and it's like, yeah, that was all Wesley's fault. Wesley wasn't doing good things back in season 3. So it's like it makes a lot of sense that there would be a resentment there from Faith and from Wesley, and it's like it's a very murky, complicated situation. And then she tortures him and shit, and it's like I like that dynamic because I feel like we're utilizing Wesley correctly here. But beyond that, like 1-2 episodes, there is not a lot that Wesley has done yet. There's not a lot that Wesley has brought into the table. It feels like the only thing he's brought into the table is having more character dialogue from someone who isn't Angel, because Angel is not good at character dialogue. He's good at like Batman one-liners. That's it. So it's like, okay, we need Cordelia, we need someone else, and that's why Wesley's here. So I look forward to seeing if we can do something interesting with Wesley moving into next episode. Next season, because this time Wesley would be starting the season with them, so maybe they can cook something interesting for Wesley moving forward. But right now it feels like Wesley is just kind of here. He's not doing a lot, but I do like having him around because I do like, it's like, oh, the thing that I know, that's a guy that I saw before, so I recognize them. It's fun, it's a very cheap trick to bring a character you already know. Instead of you don't need time to like establish him again. You already know him. But it's like, it's fine. At least it didn't like bring the whole season to a screeching halt. It's like, no, we just kept rolling. Okay, something I wanted to talk about that I mentioned a little bit earlier is that Angel, and something I immediately noticed and I really liked, is that Angel seems to be really concerned with showing that demons are not inherently bad. And that's something that maybe Buffy started doing a little bit as well. But that actually started with Angel. That actually just straight up started with Angel. I mean, both the show and the character, because I guess Angel, the character, was the first good demon. He's not really a demon, he has his soul, so all the bad things about being a demon are gone, so it's just a good dude. But in Angel the show, I don't remember the exact specific episode, so I'm sorry I'm not going to mention them, because I don't want to go and skim through all these Angel episodes, because it would take forever. But I'm watching Angel and I'm noticing how there's a bunch of stories about like innocent demons or misunderstood demons or demons who are in a situation where they feel like they need to do something to survive. And that was very interesting to me, and I really liked it, because something Buffy does is that Buffy, for the majority of Buffy, not always, but for the majority of it, we see demons who are just like, Buffy is in a graveyard, they show up and they go like, wow, and then Buffy kills them, and it's like, there you go, that's it. That's the level of complexity for these demons that are showing up. They're literally just a fight. We don't need to care about them, we don't need to know anything about them. They are not characters, they are fodder for Buffy to kill, and for Sarah Michelle Gellar to just do some cool kicks or whatever. That's a good question. Does she do her own stunts, or is it an actual stunts person? I don't think I've ever seen like someone who wasn't her do like the cool kicks and shit, so maybe it's her. That's a good question I would like to ask people. Anyway, the level of complexity for demons in Buffy has been low, just like no complexity whatsoever, just they show up, we kill them, there you go. For Angel, it's a little bit different, because for Angel, it's actually, hey, these demons are people with lives. They have a backgrounds. They are rejected. They don't know where to go. They're trying to survive. And it's like, okay, we're getting into this thing where now you feel bad for what's going on with these demons. And in a lot of cases, it's not their fault, the position that they're in. There's like an episode where there's like a underground fight pit when they throw in a bunch of demons and they just kill each other. And all these demons are in this situation where like they're killing each other. They're fighting each other to death, and they see each other as enemies, because if you don't kill the guy next to you, you die. But Angel comes in with this mentality of, we're gonna free everyone. Everyone, like, you're all focusing on the wrong enemy. The right enemy is the person with the fight pit. Like, we should dismantle this whole thing. And somehow he's able to succeed in doing so. And now that they do, everyone comes together and they actually do revolt, and they come out. And at the end of the episode, you get to see how all these demons are just kind of walking away together. And I don't remember exactly, but I do like, I seem to have a memory of them walking together into the night on the streets, and they're all like holding each other like friends. And it's this thing of like, yeah, Like there's a layer of humanity to these demons. There's a layer of complexity. There's a layer of like, they didn't ask to be in that situation. They were put there. And it's like, I do like that because that's not something we almost ever saw in Buffy. I'm sure that there are exceptions, but like anytime, but Buffy really seems more concerned with like having a guy that Buffy can kick to death. Like that's mostly what it was. So moving into Angel, where it is a show about helping. It is a show about forgiving. It is a show about understanding. We have all of these stories where we have all of these traditional bad demons, and then we looked at them and it's like, actually there's a lot here. And you could help, and we help. And that's something I fucking love about Angel. And I think that Buffy started doing that a little bit, especially with something like Spike, where Spike is not so evil anymore. He still kind of is, but at the same time, he's still just a dude that we keep around. So like there is a layer of like extra complexity to some of these monsters and demons that we encounter in Buffy because of like Spike. And I thought that Adam was going to be more on that, but then Adam just kind of fell flat. It was just like, all right, this is a very interesting guy and he's evil and he's dead. Okay, cool. Like we don't get to do much with him. But with Angel, it felt like we're really exploring this idea that in this world, in the world of Buffy, all these demons that we just keep killing, like they're people. They have like lives. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. I like that. There's actual complexity, there's actual understanding happening here. And that's like probably my favorite thing that Angel has done. I love that. I think that is an incredible choice for the show. And I am excited to see more of that. And I'm honestly excited to see more of that in Buffy too. I feel like Buffy might start doing that soon. And it's all because of Angel. Angel's fantastic. And that's also why it's really interesting how near the end of the season, near the end of Angel Season 1, there is an episode where we encounter a bunch of weird survivors. There are a bunch of kids, orphans and stuff, that are out there hunting demons and vampires. They're out there in the streets just fucking killing people. And the reason they do that is because they feel like they need to do it in order to help themselves. They need to save themselves because we need to protect ourselves from the demons that killed our families. And it's very interesting because now we're seeing like kind of the weird flip side where Angel spent a lot of time showing us that there were good demons or misunderstood demons or demons that fall kind of not necessarily in a bad place. They fall in either a gray area or a good area, right? They're not necessarily in the red. But we have an episode where it's about a bunch of kids who are just going out there and just indiscriminately just killing all of them. And then we have to take time to try and convince these kids that the way they view the world, while understandable, is not necessarily true. Angel is good to them. He tries to help them and saves them, and in fact does so, but they don't fully trust them. They don't fully trust any of them. And then it ends up coming into this place where the main guy of this like resistance group has his sister taken and then converted into a vampire. Angel tries to help, ultimately doesn't really succeed, but what he does is that he shows up and I think he kills her, because the guy couldn't kill her. Or maybe he did. I don't fully remember. But Angel shows up. And that's where, like, the complexity of this is a monster wearing your sister's face. And it is going to be really fucking difficult for you to just say no to that. It is going to be really fucking difficult for you to, like, understand the complexity of that. And then he kind of, like, draws a line in the sand. And he's like, y'all are going to stop, or I'm going to kill all of you. He has this moment where he was like essentially looking at both sides and being like, I don't want to do this. Y'all don't want to do this either. Y'all are going to kill each other and I'm going to kill whatever's left. Like, I'm going to make sure that y'all are going to stop. And the best thing for you all to do would be to just nod, because that would be the best way to keep yourself safe. Because that should be the focus for you. It shouldn't be just going out and killing all these people indiscriminately. It should be like, what if you just focus on yourself? What if you just focus on the people next to you and just keeping them safe and keeping yourselves alive? There's no point in going into this like mission of like, I'm gonna get this guy. It's like, it's not gonna go anywhere. And I like that because like this late into the season, he's actually talking to a group of people who are victims of monsters and talking them down from essentially hunting monsters, because he's like, not all monsters are bad. This ones kind of are bad, but at the same time, he's not even about that. You're just gonna die. And so like Angel has this like level of wisdom where he's able to like stop all of this from happening by imparting clarity on these people and essentially explaining to them that the rules, like unspoken rules of the society that we live in, is that demons, monsters, they're just gonna be there. And like you can dedicate your entire life to try and kill them, but like if you do, your life is gone, and the life of those close to you are also probably just gonna be gone. So better to just not do that and instead focus on protecting yourselves. And the same applies to these goddamn demons, because if y'all go out there and start fighting these guys, I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna kill you. So you better don't do that. So he's like laying down these rules, and it's very interesting because we actually do get to this level of understanding with Angel where society, this monster, demon, and human society that we have, there are good ones and there are bad ones. There is a level of nuance to every single person. Like even these kids that we see here are victims of being orphaned by these monsters, but then they're really bad in the sense that they actually do want to try and kill angels. They actually do kill the people close to them because they have this like crazy vendettas that they want to execute, and they go and kill themselves because they go into this fight. It's gone blazing, and it's like all these kids are also doing bad shit, and Angel has to like put his foot down and be like, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop with this because it's not as clear and simple as you think it is. And I do like that late into the season, that's when that comes into play. And I do like that guy, the guy from the like resistance group, the orphan, he comes back like for the next 2 episodes of Angel. He doesn't have big roles, but he just shows up. Like Angel goes to talk to them, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that there is like a resistance group with all these kids that they do want to fight demons, and it's like, hey, I got a job for you. You know, like I know a bad guy and I need help taking it down so I can like help someone. And they go like, all right, let's go. And it's really cool because we have essentially talked them down from being crazy, but they're still about, you know, like helping people and defending ourselves from monsters mostly. So now that their priority has changed from just killing into defending, now we can actually do allow them just go out there and start killing demons, because we're not doing it out of like crazy bloodthirst. We're doing it because we need to help someone. Like that's good. That's like a shift that makes a lot of sense to me, and that's really cool because we're setting up a character that's probably like gonna come back, because these have come back already before, but I mean into the future, and that is something where Angel is kind of developing in the way that Buffy is developing, where we're gonna bring characters back consistently. And that's really good. That's something I really like. That's like my favorite shit. But that's also very on tune with the theme of the show. Fantastic. Fucking love that shit. Alright, so at the end of season 1, we have this thing where, I mean, I actually do like the second to last episode of Angel a lot. Because the second to last episode is like Lindsey rising. And we have this guy, Lindsey, who's this guy working at the law firm. And so far he's been an asshole, he's been evil, but then in that episode they go like, you need to kill a bunch of children, and he's like, I don't know about that, maybe I don't want to do that. So he comes to Angel and he's like, all right, we're gonna stop this, right? And Angel at first doesn't want to help him, but then he hears the children stuff and he's like, all right, I believe you, let's work together. So then they work together, and then Lindsey gets caught, and then the boss of the law firm is like, I like you, Lindsey, you tried to backstab me because you're a go-getter. And that's what I like about you. So I'm going to give you an offer. Do you want to be the boss of this fucking thing? And Lindsey's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Lindsey goes and tries to help Angel. And he does. He saves the children. But then he comes back and he's like, I do want to be the boss. And then he's the main bad now. Lindsey is like the main guy now, which is crazy, because that was a very interesting episode for these people, because also Lindsey is kind of I mean, at least from what we've seen, Lindsey kind of is presented to us as like the opposite of the show's theme, or like the fault in the show's theme, which is, if you forgive people, if you believe that people can change for the better, sometimes they're just gonna not do that. Sometimes you're gonna get a Lindsey who's an asshole, and Lindsey is gonna see the choices in front of him, and he's gonna pick the bad one because he stands more to gain from that. So he's kind of the weird antithesis to the show's theme, where if the show's theme is no one is beyond redemption, Lindsey is like, well, I could have had redemption, but then I decided not to. So that makes Lindsey actually interesting on a thematic level. I don't know how interesting he is on a character level, because then he goes into the finale and he kind of doesn't really do a lot in the finale. He fights Angel and I think he loses an arm. I don't remember. But like, yeah, he does fight Angel and it's like cool. But like, he doesn't actually do much. There were like other like demon monks or something that showed up that had more of a presence than Lindsey did. He went and killed the oracles or whatever. It's like, oh my god, crazy shit was happening in that last episode. And the whole reason why this was done, and this is very interesting, is because they seem to be targeting Angel specifically. Because they use a ritual, sacrifice a bunch of people in order to bring a soul back from hell, that one being Darla. They brought Darla back from hell. And I'm sure that some people watching that, they might like pop off, they might like scream, and it's like, holy shit. I don't think I did that. I could be wrong. I don't remember what my reaction to that was. I'll maybe include it like here. I do have to finish. Past me, what was my reaction to Darla?
Darla.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Anyway, so that's what it was. And that's crazy because immediately it's like, okay, they're specifically targeting Angel. I don't know exactly why, but there has to be like a thing that someone who turned you into a vampire, who sires you, can do for you, or to use you, or to like harm you in any way. So they're expecting to use Darla in order to do that to Angel. Interesting, but I don't know what else to tell you about that ending. It's an interesting ending because it's setting something up for season 2 that sounds really interesting. But right now, I'm just sitting here like, all right, we just had a law firm summon a demon, and it's gonna be trouble for Angel moving forward. But like, that was the climax for the season. There's not a lot. The climax seems to be set up for the next season, so we'll see how that goes. But I do find Darla coming back very interesting, and I actually do like that because I wouldn't even say that Darla was a Buffy character at this point, because she was in Buffy for like the very early episodes. I think at one point she just pulled out a bunch of like guns or submachine guns or something, just started shooting, and like that was really fun. I know I started blasting. But I almost see Darla more as an Angel character now, because something that now in hindsight was set up that we've seen throughout the entirety of Angel season 1 was flashbacks to Angel when he was human or when he was a new vampire, and we get to see him hang out with Darla. And now Darla comes back and it's like, oh shit, like fucking Darla's here. And that also makes sense why I was asking people like, is this the same actress? I don't remember. And people were like, oh yeah, it is. And I was like, okay. The reason why it so clearly is the same actress is because she's gonna come back and she's gonna be very important. I do want to say that maybe I'm expecting Darla, like just a prediction for next season. Because Darla looks fucked up, and it makes sense because when Angel came back from hell, he was fucked up because mentally the amount of like torture that you suffer like breaks you down. So Darla is going to be a different character coming back, and maybe it's going to take her a little bit before she can stand back on her own 2 feet. And it would be very interesting if Darla could be someone who joins the main cast, someone who like turns good or something. Or there's going to be a level of nuance where like, if the theme of the show is no one is beyond saving, maybe we can save Darla. So that would be fun. I would like that. Okay, I've been talking about the show for an hour. I don't know what else to say about it. It was good. I really like the theme. I really like the characters. Angel, I like the execution of Angel's like ideals into the theme of the show, and just every episode. That's what we're doing. I love that. I think this probably was the Angel cast. I don't know what else I can say about it. I do want to say I do have the footage for all those episodes that I watch. They're on Patreon. So if you want to watch me watch Angel, they're on Patreon for like $3. You can watch all of it. Now that it's all over, you can just go and watch it. Just binge the whole thing. But anyway, that's going to be it for the Angel cast, season 1. It was very fun. I really enjoyed the show. So yeah, see you guys next time when I start Buffy season 5. Buffy season 5 starting very soon, maybe next week. I don't know the exact timings for these episodes, but stay tuned. It's happening very soon. It is definitely out on Patreon. Buffy season 5 episodes, maybe even episode 2 is already up on Patreon. So yeah, check that out. See you guys next time. Bye.